Chro-Nyx began as a faithful recreation of the legendary JP8080, whose influence can be seen in this front panel layout. From its unforgettable supersaw waveform used in countless tracks, ultra-fat unison mode, to its surprisingly warm analog modeled filter, even down to details like the tone control and delay section, this incredible hardware synth, now very hard to come by, is now at your fingertips. Simply put, if you're after the iconic leads, pads, and basses of classic 90s and early 2000s trance music, look no further. And if you're looking for more, stay tuned because I'm going to show you. This demo uses a huge supersaw lead, a fat saw and pulse bass combo, some lush sweeping pads, and a pure saw bass. But if we look under the hood of this lovely Entrada preset, we'll see that there's much more to Chro-Nyx than meets the eye. The effects section, for one thing, goes far beyond what the JP8080 was capable of. It sports the same great chorus effect, this chorus JP option here, but also dozens of other modules built from scratch. Wave shapers, rich delays, shimmer reverbs, and multiple kinds of modulation. It also has both pre- and post-effects equalizers, in addition to the JP8080's simple tone control options, along with a final effects filter in the chain, plus even a vocoder. So there are quite a few new effects, but that's just the beginning. Let's hear a totally different side of Chro-Nyx. The first bass synth here makes use of one of the many new oscillator modes in Chro-Nyx. This raw waveform can pack a huge bite. A lot of the intensity of this particular sound is coming from the filter section. Armed with two filters with multiple topologies, modes, and slopes available, it's already quite a bit more flexible than the core JP8080. And this drive slider is what really makes this patch scream. You can push it super hard, perfect for ultra aggressive sound design. From the shaper type menu, you can see it's not just one kind of filter drive available. There's a whole host of creative and interesting distortion, overdrive, bit crushing, and wave shaping filter effects to choose from. For the industrial producers, extreme sound designers, and argent metalheads out there, the boost button sends the amount of filter drive off the deep end. Plus, there are 5 filter styles to pick from, which represent the types of filters found in multiple classic hardware synths. You can also dial in filter FM from both oscillator 1 to filter 1 and the noise oscillator to filter 2, a feature inspired directly from the Access Virus line. So Chro-Nyx can do drum and bass, trance, house, how about some hardcore? all of these sounds, except for the hi-hat, are coming from Chro-Nyx, even the kick and rumble. So let's break down that kick patch next. The sharp stab of it is coming from 3 envelopes. The mod envelope applied to pitch, the filter envelope, and the amp envelope with its handy percussion mode turned on for extra snappiness. These curve controls allow you to change from the default JP8080 style linear mode right in the center to exponential curves that can enhance percussive envelopes even further. Just a bit below that is where we find the noise section, which can produce white or pink noise at whatever volume you want. In this patch, with the VCO1 button enabled, the noise actually becomes a pitch modulator similar to chaos or random style modulators in other synths. Then, as you might expect, there's also filter drive in action using the hard shaper type, plus a multiband compressor in the effects section, sub boost, and gated reverb. After some pre and post EQ, the finishing touch is the FX filter section, which basically gives you a third fully featured filter that you can apply to the entire patch. It also has this handy feature of being able to dial in the drive mix in addition to drive amount. By the way, now is a good time to mention that for all of these demos, I'm occasionally using a little bit of external sidechaining for the volume of these sounds, plus a little bit of mastering glue compression and some EQ, but that's about it. This patch, Pedal to the Metal, gives us a good excuse to check out the Arpeggiator and sequencer. As with many features in Chro-Nyx, it started with a JP8080 style arpeggiator, but grew to be more fully featured. 2 modulation tables that will pipe mod sources per step, multiple directional modes. It opens up a ton of possibilities for rhythm and movement right in your patch design. Now here's some Synthwave powered by Chro-Nyx. When it comes to this style of music, you really want those rich, warm synths to just blanket the track with retro goodness. There's a pulse width modulation, or PWM, chordal synth making use of nice filter sweeps, and especially the shimmer reverb. The cutoff is being automated by way of the macro control for filter cutoff. If you go to the miscellaneous tab, you can view all 8 macro knobs and their current assignments. It's also possible to switch to a streamlined, simplified view that's ideal for live performance, which gives you access to these macro knobs and a handful of other key controls. Just click on the A button in the upper left to switch to it, and B to switch back. For this bass patch, the tonal control is boosting the low end heavily, but most of the thickness is coming from the unison mode. Here, there are 3 voices active with just a little bit of detune, but max stereo spread and phase randomness to give it a very, very wide feel. There is so much to cover in Chro-Nyx that we couldn't possibly fit it all into one video, but there are a few other highlights I want to show. This sequence patch is full of movement. First, check out the oscillator, the P800, which is sort of a morphing format style. The first control is being modulated by the amp envelope, which is set up here in the mod matrix. You have 16 available slots, and for each slot, the mod source can control 2 destinations at once. It's really deep and really powerful. Here's the amp envelope on oscillator 1, parameter 1, or OSC1P1. Next to it, Math 1 is applied to the filter cutoff, which is a modern style bandpass with some drive. Without getting into the nitty-gritty of it, the math mod sources let you manipulate other mod source signals in all sorts of different ways. If you've done anything in the world of modular synths and Eurorack, this might seem familiar. Here, Math 1 is set to multiply LFO1 by velocity. That way we get constant movement from the LFO, but also the ability to spike the cutoff up from MIDI velocity. And that is just scratching the surface. Going back to the sequencer tab, this huge pad sound is using a really handy feature, the trusty trance gate. Another inspiration from both hardware and software synths. Feed in some nice, fat pad sounds like this, turn it on, and have fun shaping the envelope and mix to dial in the exact pulse sound you want. The trance gate doesn't require you to use the sequencer or arpeggiator, so you can have the sequencer without the trance gate and vice versa. Last but not least, this wild bass synth. This one uses the 2OP oscillator, which is an FM algorithm, but without all the headaches of full FM programming. Just tweak the controls 1 and 2 and the alter slider to change the tonality of it. But a lot of that sonic edge is actually coming from the oscillator cross modulation feature, inspired by synths like the Jupiter 8. We're using LFOs to modulate the amount of cross mod and the oscillator 1 FM. On the LFO tab, you'll see Chro-Nyx has supercharged the LFOs of the JP8080. There's some chaos noise here on the second oscillator. You can also set incredibly slow LFO rates, like once per 64 bars, or super fast, way up into audio rates, like frequency modulation. And so much more beyond that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this overview look at Chro-Nyx. This virtual synth is truly a beast, with the DNA of the JP8080 and a whole host of other classic hardware. In future videos, we'll look at some of its features even more closely. Chro-Nyx is available now from Impact Soundworks, powered by the free Reactor Player plugin that runs in any DAW, VST, AU, and AAX formats. We cannot wait to hear what kind of music you unleash with it. This has been Andrew Versa, and I'll see you in the next one.